Democrats themselves on these ballots. I think what Democrats have to get better at is not just embracing the 60 side of these 60-40 issues, but also figuring out how to message them in a way that people actually know that the issues that you support are also going to be enacted by the party that you don't support.
Right.
And so, a big part of that, by the way, is the asymmetry in the media ecosystem. The left, the Democratic Party for so long has relied on legacy media as our message distribution system, and they're not.
Yeah, if you are going to rely on legacy media, you are going to go the way of the dinosaur. We are going to jump into a conversation. Chris Cuomo and Brian Tyler Cohen, what are these guys going to be talking about? They're going to get into a heated conversation. And I think the whole topic is what's heated here. When you talk about breaking down what happened to the Democrat Party this last election, Brian Tyler Cohen is going to go ahead and push his favorite story, the narrative that the right-wing media machine dominates while Democrats flounder. What the true story is, Democrats just are not truthful. They're not relatable. So they can't survive unless there's a forced media environment. Chris Cuomo doesn't let that slide. He brings in Rachel Maddow as a defender of Democrats. But we'll see. Which side are you going to side on? Chris Cuomo or Brian Tyler Cohen? Let's get back to the clip.
In fact, legacy media, mainstream media bends over backwards to prove that it's not liberal media. How many times did the New York Times run front page cover stories on Hillary's emails? They are not on our team. The same way that Fox is on the Republican Party's team, that OAN and Newsmax are on their team, that InfoWars and Megyn Kelly's show and Daily Wire, they are on the Republican Party's team.
Digital media is overweighted to the right. I would argue legacy media went after Trump in a way that, did as much favor for Biden as anything did. But I appreciate your point. I think you're right on the digital side specifically. And that's why one of the reasons I love you, by the way, and my father.
But why is that? Why is the digital side more dominant than on the right? There's a couple reasons. One, because the left, there's a liberal progressive left of real people like Jimmy Dore on the alt space that always gets ignored in this conversation. But there's some overlap even with the Jimmy Dore and what you see on the legacy media, especially when you get into rainbow people and all that. Now, Jimmy's way more base, don't get me wrong, but there's some overlap there. So there is competition. There's really no overlap in that space with the alt media on the populist right, Trump side, and even further right. Let's get back to the clip and see what they say here. Where are we going to take this, guys?
Would have loved you. I don't know where Andrew is on you, but my father, I can't tell you how many Democrats in your generation talk to me about your party like I don't understand it. Like I don't know what it is to be like, which I find so offensive that I don't even address it because I don't know how to address it without being physical. So, but my father,
are you suggesting that the Cuomos don't have any legacy with?
We don't have any DAP anymore. It turns out as Democrats, which is kind of weird.
No, it's not weird. Why would you have DAP? Why would you have any respect? What have you brought to the table? Yeah, your brother was governor, but what have you brought to the table recently? What are you going to bring to the future? That's why people are looking at you like that. You're probably talking to younger people. My goodness, what, you guys don't have any emotional regulation without being physical? Come on, Chris Cuomo. This is the Chris Cuomo project. Do better than that. Brian Tyler Cohen's trying to play it off.
But except at the convention where they kept showing clips of my father, the who and the how of the messaging, I want to talk about a little bit. The Maddow effect. I always called Rachel the professor when I went against her at CNN. So smart. Such a high level of erudition and research. She could talk about whatever she wanted at night that was totally not on the news, and it would still work with that audience because they just wanted her take on things that were appreciated by existing Democratic beliefs. And that's also why she was losing audience to me and to Fox, was because the mistake of the smart Democrat and there is a high degree of intelligence on the Democratic side.
That doesn't mean they're right, but yes, Rachel Maddow is very smart.
Now, a lot of it has been co-opted by, in my opinion, culture wars. But
Yeah.
the condescension,
Yep.
the arrogance, the you're an idiot.
Yep.
So let me see if I can bring you along to where I am because I'm much smarter than you, was a huge problem for Democrats that Trump wound up benefiting from because of how bad his language is.
His language isn't bad, but I do understand the point. Yeah, nobody likes this smug attitude, but Rachel Maddow, we know she's smart, but she speaks like a grad professor or something. Like she's going to grade your essay or something. Like you don't go to her for fun, entertaining stuff. Fox is a little bit more rough around the edges. You got comedy, The Five, and all that. And that brings you a little bit swagger. It makes you feel like, hey, I want to be in the cool club. That's not me personally, but that's how many people feel. And that's what MAGA Trump became, kind of the cool club. The average Joe, like if you're a plumber, what plumber is going to be a Democrat listening to Rachel Maddow? That's why you guys lose people. Legacy media, some of them are smart, but they remind me of like a boomer who just wants to prove that they're hip, like they're using the word hip. They leaned on that for decades, and now they're seeing that the mainstream in the corporate world, that type of messaging, it just doesn't work.
And how rough around the edges he is and unsophisticated. And
That
it
part's
made
true.
people feel better about being against this level of sophistication.
Absolutely.
You, conversely, get that. And you are not Rachel Maddow. You are smart. You are well-researched with what you do, but you do not make me feel bad about it. You do not talk down to me. And I think that that is a fundamental thing that you guys have to learn. And I think Kamala read really condescending to people. And Americans may not be the most studied, but they're really sensitive to being stupid.
Yeah.
And that's a tough spot. Do you recognize that within your own persuasion?
Yes, I mean it's clearly like an issue, a very visible issue within the Democratic Party, like on the left, is that there is a degree of even for me as a content creator, if I step one step left to center and say something incorrect or even misquote something or whatever it is, I mean I'll get completely beat up. Democrats love to lecture other Democrats. Democrats love to scold. And I think that's something that we have to get over as a party because, you know, to your point, I mean, you catch more flies with honey, right? And I think that we have to recognize just basic sociology, just basic how to reach out to people, how to make people feel like they want to be part of your coalition. And you know, look, I'm guilty of it too, because I think that most of the stuff that falls out of Donald Trump's face makes him sound really fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard not to just say, this guy's really fucking stupid. And that the people who support him, therefore, are stupid. But I think that that's something.
Nothing like proving Chris Cuomo right by being the exact caricature of the thing Chris Cuomo said not to be. And I know he doesn't mean it. Brian Tyler Cohen doesn't mean to do that. But that's what you did, Brian Tyler Cohen and Chris Cuomo, man. He indirectly exposed the problem with Democrats.
Thing that we have to figure out how not to do. And in fact, the thing that I've been focused on over the last couple of years is not to blame people who believe Fox News when they lie on Trump's behalf, for example. It's to appeal to them in such a way that says, like, look, these people are lying to you. Have more respect for yourself than to trust people like this who are going to lie right to your face. I mean, I often say in my videos that it feels like the Republicans' biggest enemies are the Democrats, but in fact, the people that Republicans have the most contempt for are their own supporters, that they're willing to lie to them for years and years and years about certain issues that have no basis in reality. I mean, this idea.
Well, that's the clip. Where do you stand on this? This is a interesting debate. Do you think people like Kamala Harris come across? Some people have called her the queen of condescension, you know, just basically consent, you know, doing the tone where they're consenting, like, oh, I'm the moral high ground. I'm the best at this. I'm the one who saves democracy. horrific. It's not just about intelligence. I know she's not very bright, but it's the vibe that comes with it. Her telling you that you're too dumb to get democracy, basically. After Donald Trump wins, they still talk about the 6th of January like it's some big deal, even after the people have spoken. Do you land on that side, or are you with Brian Tyler Cohen, who thinks Trump supporters are being played and that Trump is stupid? I don't know. Which one are you with?
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.